Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, we're going to step right into the fog. Tropical Fog Mimosa is an 8.6% Imperial Milkshake IPA from Abomination Brewing Company in North Haven, Connecticut. Abomination's been releasing this fog series for quite a while now. Now, most of the time with the series, they focus on maybe a specific hop variety, or they combine a couple different hops to get different flavors, different profiles, different IPA styles. Now, I've really only had experience with a couple of their beers so far, but today I'm going to be taking a look at this one. This is Tropical Fog. It is a mimosa-style milkshake IPA. So we're going to get a look at the label. We'll get it into a glass, but first I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer, David Jeffries, Vinny Kent, and Cam Freeman for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or maybe just throw me a couple bucks to buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.drafttherapy.com, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks available only to patrons. If you don't want to contribute anything monetarily, that's totally fine. If you could share this video with your buddies, widen the net, that's all I ask. So let's take a look at the label. This is a little bit different than maybe something that you're used to with Abomination, but with all the Fog series, they have like this, foggy look to them, as this one does. It says Tropical Fog, and underneath that it says Milkshake Style Double India Pale Ale with citrus and vanilla. In the background is this foggy kind of palm tree look. It looks like you could confuse this with Miami or something, but on the right side of it, they start to show the forest like they do with most of their beers, most of this Fog series. Underneath that, it says Abomination Brewing Company. It says this is 8.6% alcohol by volume. This is a 16 fluid ounce can. On the other side here, on the back, it says brewed and packaged by Abomination Brewing Company in North Haven, Connecticut. Distributed by 12%. This is a mimosa-inspired tropical edition. And then on the side has the government warning and the Abomination A. You might be saying to yourself, this doesn't really look like it's that iconic of a label, but what they generally do with their other styles of beer, other than the Fog series, they have this real kind of death metal look to them. Abomination's also, from what I remember, is a gypsy brewer, so they don't necessarily have like a place that they always brew. Sometimes they brew at other brew houses, so you will see sometimes that they do collaborations with other breweries. So before I grab my glass, this was canned on March 22nd, 2022. So we're looking at about maybe 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks old at this point. I'm recording this on April 10th. So it's not too, I'm looking for a glass like I didn't already pull one. So let's go ahead and crack this. We'll put a nose on it. And wow, it looks pretty. At first, when I opened it, it looks really kind of murky from the overhead. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Does smell very tropical. It has a very tropical fruit aroma to it. A little bit orangey, maybe a little bit of a little stone fruity. Let's go ahead and pour this. Coming out really murky, really thick looking. This is one of the thicker IPAs that I've poured in a long time. I want to say the other one that I've had from Abomination that really sticks out in my mind is, I think it's called Lantern Lighter. It's a pumpkin style milkshake IPA. We're getting about a finger's worth of head on this one. It's maybe about half a finger. It's not really a huge head. This IPA glass here is generally, for me, it's known for producing this massive head. It's a little bit kind of shading towards the yellow. It's like an off-white shading towards yellow. The head's really starting to dissipate pretty quickly here. Let's go ahead and hold it up to the light. And yeah, if there was any kind of illusion that I'd be able to see through this whatsoever, I can barely see a shadow, the shadow of my fingers passing through this. There is a lot of just kind of sediment floating in suspension here. This is super murky. Let's put a better nose on the glass here. Yeah, it has a nice citrus aroma to it. It has a bit of a sharp citrus smell to it. Definitely getting tropical vibes out of this. Let's go ahead and try it out. Cheers. As I mention every time, we always talk about the mouthfeel first on this. The mouthfeel of this beer is super thick. It's got a real nice thickness to it. It's not like syrupy thick. It is definitely on the heavier end of IPA. I wouldn't say that it is necessarily like even one of the thicker IPAs that I've had. The look of it is a lot thicker than how it actually the mouthfeel is. So let's talk about the flavor here. I really like the flavor. We'll get it off the bat. We'll kick it off there. It has a really pineapple kind of flavor that comes up front. That tropical kind of flavor comes up right at the up front. After that, it kind of goes into this really deep, rich, like orange juicy flavor. So it's like, if you've ever had pineapple orange juice, it tastes like just like that. It's very smooth. It does have a bit of a bitterness on the finish. It's a little bit of there's a little bit of a citrus bitterness, but I can tell that this has some kind of lactose or some kind of milk sugar added into it. Generally, milk sugar to me adds a little bit of like a artificial sweetener kind of bitterness to it, like a sweet and low kind of bitterness to it. That's generally what I pick up on lactose. It has that same kind of profile. This does have that. After that bitterness comes in, you do pick up on a little bit of a vanilla aftertaste. So whereas it does have that little bit of that lactose bitterness to it, that artificial sweetener kind of bitterness, it does have, it does come back through with vanilla that comes through and kind of finishes up. So it kind of tries to mask it a little bit. Really a very sweet IPA. Not overly sweet, not something that's like puckeringly sweet. Like it's not overwhelmingly or overpoweringly sweet, but it definitely has, it's on that sweet edge, right? It's like walking a fine line between being almost too sweet and just being sweet enough. Like if it was a little bit more sweet, if there was a little bit sweeter kind of flavors in there, I almost want to say that it's nice that the milk sugar in there does lend to that artificial kind of bitterness to it, because that kind of brings it back. It pulls it back from being too sweet. That lactose really adds that depth to the flavor. And the aspartame, like that, I want to say aspartame, but that like artificial sweetener kind of flavor actually helps pull it back into the realm of being drinkable. I feel like if it wasn't in there, it would just be sweet upon sweet upon sweet upon sweet and just be too much. Now, I mentioned Lantern Lighter, which I think that's what it's called, but again, I don't remember exactly if that's the name of the beer that I had. But the one thing with that, with it being a milkshake IPA, is that really didn't have much of that lactose flavor to it. And generally, the Abomination beers that I've had that have had like lactose, I feel like they do a really good job of masking it. And with this one, like I said, I feel like they had to kind of introduce a little bit more of that bitterness, that lactose bitterness into it, so that it could draw the flavor back in. So again, it would be a little bit more drinkable and not just so sweet like a big kind of juice bomb. This is very juicy. It is still a juice bomb, but like I said, with that bitterness in there, it really just kind of pulls back the flavor. It kind of makes it a little bit more accessible and not more, you know, if it wasn't in there, if that bitterness wasn't in there, I can almost see this being like a dessert IPA, if there is such a thing. All right, friends, that has been Tropical Fog Mimosa from Abomination Brewing Company down in North Haven, Connecticut. Have you had any Abomination beers yet? Have you had this one? Do you have a favorite? Is there one I should be trying out? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell. I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. If you're already subscribed, give me a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Let's cast that wider net. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer. Support your local breweries. These guys are in North Haven, Connecticut. And until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Cheers.